Hey Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you every Thursday by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Jennifer Oraquah, StoryBrand Certified Guide and Marketing Strategist with Salt Marketing, and your host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. If you've ever thought about working with your spouse or your partner, it's likely a number of obstacles might have come to mind. Maybe communication challenges, conflicting work styles, or difficulty separating work and personal lives. But there are couples who have found unexpected synergies in their skills, elevating their ventures to new heights. And this is especially true in health and wellness, where we often find our combined passions can do so much good in the world. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply intrigued by the magic of working with your partner, this episode promises to be a wellspring of insights and inspiration for you. My guests today are JAG and Aston Guichard, husband and wife owners of JAG Medical Cosmetics, where they have developed their own unique approach to achieving their clients' goals. Today, I'm talking with them about how they got started, how they've grown their practice, and how they've tackled business challenges head-on without letting it impact their personal bond. JAG, Ashton, I cannot wait to explore this topic with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Worth Your Salt.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Now, I've known the two of you for many years, but can you take us back to the early days of your business journey? What motivated you both to start a business together in the health and wellness industry?
You know, we both worked in the hospital system, and we just felt like they would pile a lot on, a lot of patients, a lot of work. And one thing that I really loved about being in care was that I could spend time with my patients and get to know them and take my time with them. But unfortunately, we started kind of losing that in the hospital system. And so we discussed starting our own business in health and wellness, and that gave us the freedom to run it the way we really wanted.
Call our own shots.
Yeah, call our own shots and see as many patients in a day as we want or as little as we wanted, but just make sure that we had ample time and to spend with them.
It's really to provide the care that we wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's only natural for couples to have different strengths and weaknesses. How do you guys leverage each other's skills to benefit the business? How do you handle tasks that might not align with your individual expertise?
So I think being open with one another, having an open line of communication and kind of being able to express, hey, I need some help with this. And then just acknowledging each other's strengths and weaknesses really goes a long way. And then a lot of self-awareness, I think, plays into that too. And just kind of being aware of what your strengths and weaknesses are so you can communicate openly to your partner to be like, hey, I might need some help with this or spot me on that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, and of course, in the health and wellness space, there's often a multitude of approaches and trends. So how do you both navigate through these choices to make decisions that really align with your business values and goals?
Yeah, so a lot of it is personalized when we're kind of evaluating and coming up with a course of action. And we also really base everything that we do on evidence-based medicine too. So is there evidence behind everything that we're recommending and doing? And that really guides our practice. We're talking about these treatments. We want to make sure that everything we do for our patients and clients, they're seeing those results, they're getting the benefits. And we can really say that there's a lot of evidence to support these treatments.
Very good. And the health and wellness industry can be really competitive and constantly evolving. So what are some of the strategies that the two of you use to stay ahead of the game and keep your business relevant?
Educating. We love being educated. It's the same, just kind of across the board in medicine in general. You always want to stay up to date on the latest evidence-based research and just kind of the new trends and new medications on the market, and everything's ever evolving. And so we really pride ourselves on just kind of staying up to date on that and going to conferences and learning from our peers, learning from, those authoritative voices in our field.
All right, JAG, Ashton, you guys are an inspiration. We do need to take a quick sponsorship break right now, but when we return, I want to hear more about how your shared business venture has actually strengthened the two of you. Stay with us.
The Worth Your Salt podcast is grateful to our partners and sponsors. Social media can be such an undertaking for your practice. Having to dream up new content over and over again, then create visuals and repurpose it across multiple platforms, and yet not see the follower growth you are looking for? It's enough to make you pull out a typewriter and start faxing people. But at Salt Marketing, we can help you get over that hurdle. Our content playbook with social media action plan starts with a brand review to make sure it is represented consistently across all platforms. Then we provide a full content analysis for each of your channels, helping you identify your optimal content pillars. Your hashtag sets are next, grouped into themes specific to your niche. Your social media action plan also includes competitive intelligence and recommendations to make the most of your bio. Finally, we'll provide you with your action plan, identifying what's working and what you can improve upon. Get started today. Visit us at saltmarketing.co/services to learn more. That's saltmarketing.co/services. Take the stress out of social media with your custom action plan and playbook from Salt Marketing.
I'm back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with Jared and Aston Guichard, owners of JAG Medical Cosmetics. Now, a lot of couples worry about the potential impact on their personal relationship when they go into business together. So do you have any advice that you would give to others who are considering taking this entrepreneurial leap?
I would say boundaries for sure. And just having that, we always joke, there's always Wednesday, and that's kind of our saying is there's always Wednesday, and we kind of take a little pause on Wednesday nights and we have our date night babysitter set up. And sometimes that just means ordering takeout and watching an episode of Hard Knocks or, drinking a glass of wine together. But just that separation of work and business and family life and just kind of taking a moment to breathe and unplug and reconnect has been kind of, the pinnacle of our relationship with this venture.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think from my end, just also having patience to let her do her thing, because we both approach things very differently. And so just kind of sitting back and watching her, have her style and I have my style, is just having, patience for the other one.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it's a lot of trust too.
Yeah.
And I love that some Wednesday nights are recording podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, has your shared business venture strengthened your marriage in any unexpected ways?
Oh, I think so. 100%. It's just surprising some days to see, different strengths that Jared has that I had no idea. And of course, looking back on it, I probably should have, because he was always running like quality improvement projects in the hospital and kind of taking lead on those projects. And so, but from a business standpoint, if Jared doesn't know something, or if he's not, been trained in that aspect, because they don't teach you this in med school, he just kind of owns it and learns it and really puts in the time and dedication to really master that craft in the business side of things.
Yeah. And it was, at the beginning, it's always very rough because you don't know exactly what you're getting into and what it requires of you. And so, but we just hit a stride and we feel like we just have a good flow with our business, where we have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we can kind of just the other person knows exactly what's needed at any given time. I think it's kind of made us appreciate those things about each other even more so. And we lean on each other in those times. This
is probably an issue outside of couples who go into business together, but how do you prioritize self-care while you're managing a business together? How do you make time for that? And do you have any favorite practices you both personally follow, or, any advice?
Yeah. I mean, we do Orange Theory together. We try to get that in, or at least try to do something active together so that we're feeling both healthy and accomplished, that week or that day. But it is tough. I think that's probably one things that I personally struggle with the most. And I'm sure Ashton has.
I think we tend to unplug differently. And so at night, Jared will be looking through like spreadsheets and balancing things. And I kind of have it goes back to boundaries again with me, where it's like I kind of have my routine where, I have to read a different book or just something to kind of unplug before I go to bed at night.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you talked about education for yourselves and staying up on the latest trends. The space, health and wellness, is ever evolving. So how do you balance embracing innovation while still staying true to your core values and principles? I
think it kind of goes back to, that integrity and patience. There's things that are coming out on the market all the time, in aesthetics especially. And Jared and I both, we like to just kind of sit back and be patient with it and not jump on the latest fad. And we want to make sure that the science is behind it first before we bring that into our practice, because it really, at the end of the day, our name is on it. It's our, we can't practice with integrity if we're just throwing whatever shows up, the next latest and greatest fad that's allegedly going to cure everything. And so we really do our due diligence and put in the time just to make sure that it's worthwhile and there's sound evidence behind it.
Yeah. We give numerous examples in this industry where have been pressured because of the advertising or the marketing of these certain procedures. And then, years go by where you find out that there really has no evidence or no benefit, and people have spent a lot of money and resources, or there's negative consequences for them. And like I said, we have multiple examples of that.
Yeah, for sure. And I have been lucky enough to, see you guys in action and how you work. I would love to know a little bit more about how you sort of collaboratively developed your approach to caring for your patients. because it's a fascinating thing to watch.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I know, it's for me, coming out of med school and training, it's always was very patient centric. And so whatever I needed to be or do or, to make that patient better was bottom line at the end of the day, what I wanted to do. And so that kind of translated into our own business where it's client specific, it's client centered. So what the client needs, what's going to benefit the client. And that's our whole focus at the end of the day, making sure that client satisfaction, patient satisfaction is our top priority. Mm-hmm. And so, and from Ashton's side things, she's kind of taken different roles and kind of, grown into her role as a nurse practitioner. I'll let her comment.
And I think at the end of the day, we go into medicine to take care of people and kind of to reflect on your first question. When we worked for, a hospital system, it's kind of working for corporate America, and they have their agendas and they want you to see so many patients. And as a nurse at that time, it was really hard because I loved sitting down and having time to talk to patients. And you just didn't have that with the amount of work that they piled on your plate. And not to be like cute or anything, but, it was one of the first things that I truly loved about Jared was seeing him interact with my patients. And most nurses can attest to this. When a doctor comes in and you're in the middle of a med pass and you're behind, you're like, oh, crap, really? Just to sit there and watch him sit on the side of the patient's bed and just explain every medication she was taking and all of the discharge instructions. And I was just blown away that he was actually taking the time and really, truly cared about his patient.
Yeah, so important, especially in the field you're in. It's time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast, and today I'm talking with Jared and Aston Guichard, owners of JAG Medical Cosmetics. Jared and Aston have developed a shared vision for their business and their marriage. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to join us over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and let us know if you and your partner have found great ways to work together. So I wanted to ask you a question about the aesthetics field in general. What's the most rewarding aspect of running a business in this field? What keeps you both passionate about this work?
I think just seeing people become more confident versions of themselves. Everyone that comes to the door, they kind of have, an issue or something that they've kind of fixated on or wanted to change for a little bit, or they're just curious about something. And so just to have them experience that change in confidence is really rewarding and something that I love seeing every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I echo that. I mean, we have clients who will cry in the chair after they see some of these results, and it tugs at our heartstrings for sure. Makes us, kind of realize that we're doing, good work, and that's what kind of keeps us going and brings us the joy of working in this field.
Yeah, and building and growing a business, that emotional side, it can be a roller coaster. So how do you celebrate those successes together? How do you support each other during challenging times?
Man, I feel like, that's a tough one to...
Being supportive for each other, really acknowledging, and it kind of circles back to like love languages and knowing like each other's love language and if we receive praise better or, whatever it may be, and just kind of acknowledging like, hey, you really did an awesome job today, or like, I saw you doing this and like, love that. And just really acknowledging each other's strengths and
accomplishments and things like that.
Yeah. And you alluded to this earlier, but of course the health and wellness industry can sometimes face skepticism, misinformation, particularly in aesthetics. So how do you approach educating and building trust with your audience and your customers?
Yeah. And we look at this field as medicine. And so I think that's also very important. Because unfortunately, I feel like society in general, when they think of aesthetics, is that, it's just a side branch of a salon or something along those lines. But really, it is medicine. These are prescribed medicines. And so we take that very seriously. So every time we are using this, we know, what it can do, how the benefits of it, making sure that we have a healthy respect for the field.
And then I really think just the time that we take for each patient, we don't, pump people through like an assembly line. We really like to sit down and have those meaningful conversations where we can educate and help them determine, the misinformation that's out there.
That's everything. So tell me a little bit about your vision for the future of your business. How do you see your roles evolving as JAG grows?
Yeah, for me, I think we both have like different perspectives on this question. But for me, obviously, we want to keep the quality of our business and kind of show, South Carolina what we have to offer and the quality that we have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I also want to kind of take it a step further and really just kind of hone in on keeping this field of medicine safe and regulated as well. Unfortunately, there are people who do these medicines and use these medicines that are not qualified, or you can get them overseas. You can get these medicines that aren't actually the appropriate medicines, and some people are using them in their garage, or they're driving around and injecting people. Like I said, I'd like to see a little bit more in the way of making sure we have a healthy respect, once again, for this field, that it is medicine. And in the same way that hospital medicine has a lot of regulations, that we can kind of focus on putting some stricter rules and regulations in this field.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, don't limit yourself. You can show this to the world. It doesn't have to be to South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to learn more about JAG Medical Cosmetics, the services you offer, how you help your clients, where can I go?
Probably the best way is to either see us in person, like call and get a consultation, of course, because we always love to meet people and talk with them. But probably an easier way is to go on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, kind of see our work, see what we value, and then also just what our clients have to say about us as well. I think we have a strong reputation. We have a wonderful client base that supports us and has rewarded us multiple times with best medical spa in the area. So I think that's a good start. I don't know if Ashton agrees with that.
I agree.
Certainly over 100 5-star reviews on Google is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Of course, a link to the JAG Medical Cosmetics website and their Instagram will all be available on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, Jared, Ashton, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Are you ready?
Yes.
I think so.
All right. First question is, what is the best book you've read recently?
Ooh. So I read a lot of books. I really enjoyed Spare by Prince Harry.
Oh, okay.
I liked getting just kind of that his view on everything and his side of the story.
Mm-hmm. Different perspective. Yeah, for sure. Jared, what about you?
I'm boring. I read like medical journals and
spreadsheets.
research stuff.
All right. We'll let you answer the next question, which is, what is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
Definitely the clients and the patients that we meet. I mean, they're super sweet. We still to this day, they'll bring little gifts and always ask about our son, who's now 13 months, and they come in and always ask about him. So it's just like a really close-knit connection, which I love.
Yeah, those relationships are everything. All right, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
So relationship-wise, and I think it also goes business as well, is just remember you're on the same team. You're playing doubles in tennis. You're not playing against each other. You're on the same side. So, take those shots together. I think that's been probably one of the best pieces of advice I've got.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like we're, initially we started this, I felt like sometimes we were playing a different sport. And then when we finally kind of like started grooving together, we're on the same team with the same goals. And I think that's huge for any couple, is making, exactly what Ashton said, just
for sure. Yeah. All right. Last question. Who or what inspires you?
I always laugh, but I mean, right now, I would say family and my son, Leon.
Jared, Ashton, I want to thank you both for joining me for this week's episode of Worth Your Salt.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
I also want to thank our listeners, and if you're ready for your Worth Your Salt debut, tell us about your expertise by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Be sure to subscribe on our website so you never miss an episode. Finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join me again next Thursday. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.